Seminole County sits to the north of the greater Orlando area. Today we're going to talk about the 7 cities that make up Seminole County and discuss the highlights of each one and what you can find there in terms of housing. County is bordered to the north by Volusia County and to the south by Orange County, which is the county that encompasses the city of Orlando. Seminole County is one of the fastest growing counties in all of Central Florida. Right now it has a population of about 422,000. The 7 cities that make up Seminole County are, in no particular order, Altamont Springs, Winter Springs, Castleberry, Oviedo, Longwood, Sanford, and Lake Mary. One of the best parts of Seminole County is the schools. So out of 67 school districts in all of Florida, Seminole County schools are ranked 10th. So even if you don't have kids, maybe your kids are already grown or you just don't have children yourself, it is still important to keep this in mind because having great schools will help you eventually sell your house. It will increase rent prices if you're using this as a rental property, and it will help keep your value strong. So let's kick it off with Altamont Springs. First of all, if you want to sound like a local, it's Altamont and not Altamonte. I don't know why, but that's just the way it's pronounced. Altamont is one of the more southern cities in Seminole County, so if you are going to be commuting to Orlando, it's quicker to get to I-4 than it is from some of the other cities in Seminole County, so you will have a shorter commute time. One of the highlights of Altamont Springs is the mall, the Altamont Mall, at least to me, but I love a good mall. And near Altamont Mall is Cranes Roost Park. Cranes Roost Park has a 37-acre lake with a really nice wide walking trail around it. There are benches where you can sit and take a break. There is an amphitheater where they sometimes have live outdoor performances. And every year there is a very big 4th of July fireworks celebration there called Red Hot and Boom. The stretch of road that the mall is on is called State Road 436. Most people just call it 436. And that area can get congested, but if you live there, there are ways you'll find to get around it by cutting through other neighborhoods. So there's ways to avoid the traffic. Now, the area right around the mall actually has a lot of homes that don't have an HOA. They're a little bit older, but it's a great spot to check if you really don't want to be in an HOA. Today, I just checked on the MLS. There are 112 properties for sale in Altamont Springs, but of those, 67 are actually condominiums. Now, in the past 6 months, the median sales price in Altamont Springs has been $288,500, and that home was built in 1985 and had just about 1,500 square feet and no swimming pool. Now let's check out Longwood. Longwood is one of my favorite parts of Seminole County, and that's due largely in part to the Wekiva Springs area. So as you head over to the west side of Longwood, there is a national park there called Wekiva Springs Park, which is a great place to spend like a Saturday afternoon just kayaking or having a picnic or going for a hike. And the houses around there tend to be a little bit older. There's a lake in the middle called Lake Brantley, and many of the houses come with an optional HOA fee that will give you access to Lake Brantley. On the east side of Longwood, as we go under I-4, you come to the San Lando area, which is going to reach that part of Altamont behind the mall where it's really not an HOA area, and you get, 70s and 80s homes, and also a very nice area right next to I-4, so quick commute down to Orlando. And then further east, there is a small historic district in Longwood with just a couple of historic homes that are, it's just a cute little downtown sort of area. There are currently 130 homes for sale in Longwood, and just 13 of them are condos, so it's by and large a single family home area. And in the past 6 months, the median home price was $352,000, and that was for a home built in 1968. It did have that optional $200 HOA per year that gives you access to Lake Brantley. It was a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom home with about 2,100 square feet. Now we're going to jump a little bit further south and check out Castleberry. Castleberry has just 45 homes for sale right now, and of those, 30 are single family and the other 15 are a mix of townhomes and condos. Castleberry basically runs along the east side of the road called 1792, and that's going to pretty much be your main commercial area for Castleberry, with a mix of grocery stores and hardware stores and things like that. Castleberry is home to Redbug Lake Park and also Secret Lake Park, and Secret Lake Park has a golf course. There's a bunch of lakes in there, so if you're looking for a lakefront home, this is a great place to look. The homes tend to be a little bit older, a little bit dated, and so you can still get a really good deal. A lot of them, even ones that aren't lakefront, you have to be careful because a lot of them are going to be in a flood zone. So if that's important to you, you're going to want to check that out. But that area in general has an interesting mix of houses of different ages. So in the past 6 months, the median sales price in Castleberry was $265,000. That home was built in the 1960s. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and it was lakefront. It was in flood zone AE, which probably means that that home is going to be required to have flood insurance. It did not have a swimming pool, and it was about 1,800 square feet. Moving eastward, let's turn our focus to Winter Springs. Winter Springs is basically divided in half by Tuscaloosa Road. To the north, you have Lake Jessup, which is the lake in Central Florida where if you find like an alligator in your swimming pool, they come and take the alligator and put it in Lake Jessup. To the east, you're going to have the toll road called the 417, which is a road that'll take you to Orlando. Of course, it costs money, but it's a lot more pleasant than riding down I-4. One really popular community in Winter Springs is called Parkstone, and that borders Lake Jessup. So that's a community of pretty large houses. They're built mostly in the 2000s with a starting price roughly in the low 300,000s. The HOA fee there is $1,200 a year. It is gated. There's a fishing pier on Lake Jessup, swimming pool, community tennis courts, and also a nice walking trail. So that's a really popular community in Winter Springs. In the middle of Winter Springs, you're going to find the Tuscaloosa Country Club with a private golf course, and you can purchase a home on that golf course starting at about $350,000. All in all, in Winter Springs, right now there are 100 homes for sale, 3 condos, and 5 of those are townhomes. So it's very, very heavily single-family home in Winter Springs. There are just a handful of homes in Winter Springs that were built prior to the 1980s, so it is more of a newer area. And in the past 6 months, the median sales price was $350,000, and that bought a home built in 1986 with about 2,500 square feet. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a swimming pool. Now moving a little bit further east, we're going to hit the city of Oviedo. I've already done a whole video on Oviedo, so I will link that above. You can check that out if you like. Oviedo currently has 136 homes for sale, and of those, 21 are condos or townhomes. Oviedo is one of the places in Seminole County where you can get a little bit of acreage. If you go to the northern part of Oviedo, you can hit the Black Hammock area, and there you can find houses with some acres. Also, it borders Lake Jessup, and you can go there to get airboat rides. It's a great place to take your out-of-town guests, and they can try some alligator there and see a little bit of what wild Florida life is like. Oviedo is geographically somewhat spread out, so there is a wide range of activities there. There are several parks and lots of things to do and explore, and Oviedo even has a community swimming pool. To the south, Oviedo roughly borders UCF, the University of Central Florida, so there's a lot of employment around there. So Oviedo always has a strong market for rental properties for students, and also lots and lots of employers there. So it's really a great place to get a rental property if that's something that you're interested in. For example, the Alafaya Woods neighborhood is a huge community. The properties there start in about the $300,000 range. They're mostly built in the 1980s. They're just, you know, great single family homes, very, very popular area, and there's always something for sale in there. Oviedo also has a lot of luxury homes. One of my favorite neighborhoods is called Huntington. The home sites are generally about a half an acre. A lot of the homes were custom built in the 1980s and 90s. It's definitely not cookie cutter. A lot of them are just really beautiful, really well thought out, well planned homes. Occasionally you can find one in there in the high 300s right now, but most of them start in about the $500,000 range. In the past 6 months, 542 houses have sold in Oviedo, and the median sales price was $375,000, and that bought a 1997 built 2,300 square foot home with a private pool. Now we're going to move north to Lake Mary. I did do a Lake Mary video already, so I'm going to link that above here. You can check that out if you like. Lake Mary is a great town in Seminole County. It's generally very clean and tidy. You really can't go wrong anywhere in Lake Mary. The schools there, as is the case of most of Seminole County, are super good. It has a small but a very nice little downtown area, and that has a farmer's market on the weekends on Saturdays, which is a nice little activity to do with your family. There are also private golfing and country clubs in Lake Mary. There are a lot of higher end homes in Lake Mary and a lot of gated communities. Sometimes I find that buyers seem to be scared off by the distance to Orlando, but it's really only about half an hour. You can jump on I-4 and be in Orlando in about 25 minutes, or you can take the 417, which is that toll road that I mentioned, for a somewhat smoother ride and be there in about half an hour. There are currently 140 properties for sale in Lake Mary, and of those, a whopping 45 are townhouses and 18 are condos. So let's talk about some of those townhouses in Lake Mary. Lake Mary has a lot of luxury townhomes, which is so far unusual for what we've seen in Seminole County. Of them, my favorite is Fountain Park, and that's a luxury Tuscan-inspired community. It is gated and guarded, and you can get a 3 or 4 story townhome in there with an elevator, so a private indoor elevator to take you to each floor of your unit. And those are generally in the 400,000s. In the past 6 months in Lake Mary, the median sales price was $385,000, and that was for a home built in 1996 with 2,300 square feet and a private swimming pool. Last but not least, let's head to Sanford. So the main draw or attraction to Sanford is probably going to be the downtown area, the historic district. So there you're going to find a lot of restaurants and boutiques, gift shops, tea rooms, and a lot of bars and breweries. So if walkability is important to you, Sanford might be your best bet. There's also a marina on Lake Monroe, which is within walking distance of this historic downtown area. Now, if you like an older home, these are Florida old, so not super duper old, but 1910 to 1930s will be the age of homes you'll find there. And many of them are in a historic district. So if you do purchase a home within the historic district while you're not in an HOA, they will require that you get permission before you modify the outside of your home. And while this adorable downtown area is a big attraction for Sanford, it's a site where movies are filmed and commercials are filmed, it's really only part of Sanford. As we travel to the west and go on the other side of I-4, there are a lot of exclusive custom-built homes in gated and guarded communities. One of those, for example, is called Lake Forest, and that's a gated and guarded community built in the 90s and 2000s with custom-built luxury homes, basically. So that's going to be a much more expensive HOA fee. It's a lot stricter. So if you're looking for that sort of a community, this is a great place to focus. You can sometimes get a home in there in the 300s, but generally they're 500,000 up to $1 million or more. In Sanford, right now, there are 186 properties for sale, and of those, 22 are condos or townhomes. So not so many condos and townhomes in Sanford. The median sales price in Sanford over the last 6 months was $276,000, and that was for a home built in 1999 without a pool with about 1,800 square feet. So if you're interested in all things related to living, working, and buying a home in the Central Florida area, please feel free to hit subscribe and click on the bell below so you're notified every time I put up a weekly video. And my team and I look forward to hearing from you. If you would like to reach out to us, in the description below, I have put a link to my calendar, so you can feel free to set up a Zoom call with me. It'll take 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll just discuss how we're going to get started on your move to this area. So this concludes our tour of Seminole County. If you need more information or you would like to reach out to me or speak to someone on my team, my contact information is here. You can also, again, go below in the description and set up a face-to-face call with me so we can get to know each other and get started on your home search. We look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.